you were in the coffee shop before you joined EXP.
Yeah.
Okay, and then you were running out of money. When was that? Hello and welcome to episode 8 of Estate Agency Entrepreneurs, and today I'm joined by the one and only Jack Bowyer. Hello Jack, how you doing?
Hey, yeah, I'm good, how are you?
Yeah, very good, thank you. How was your... Well, you're from Hitchin, aren't you, originally?
Yeah, I love Hitchin.
Yeah. So I always say to people, welcome to the centre of the universe, but you already know...
It is the centre of the universe.
Exactly.
I was at school like 5 minutes around the corner, meeting my mum after this.
Okay, cool.
So yeah, it'd be great.
Nice, good stuff. So we're here to talk about your kind of journey into estate agency.
Yeah.
And your background and fears and hopes and dreams and aspirations and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So let's go back to the kind of the start, I suppose. When did you get into estate agency? What's your sort of background?
Back to Hitchin. I did my my work experience, Stonegate Estate Agents, just in town. And then went to uni for whatever reason. For some reason, didn't think you could make much money in property. I then went to hospitality after uni, went to a company called Sterling Ackroyd, became manager quite quickly of their head office. It was in Shoreditch, it was loads of fun. Bought out by corporate, became less fun. I became less of an estate agent. I left, I did various different types of sales roles outside of property. And then this came back. So then I found out about being a self-employed estate agent, do all the bits that I loved, hopefully make a lot more money. And it seemed like a match made in heaven.
So going back to that Sterling Ackroyd, it's an interesting one. We've seen lots and lots of agents, on 7 episodes, you're number 8, and I'd say half of those agents I've seen they went to an independent or they went to a smaller business and then it was acquired by a corporate or a larger entity. What was the bits you loved about Sterling Ackroyd before it was acquired, and what were the bits you didn't like once it was acquired?
I remember my first week just running around, always busy, really buzzing in Shoreditch, visiting loft apartments, visiting townhouses, visiting really cool new builds, and I was just in heaven. I thought it was amazing, and I was just like, how the hell does someone afford like £500 a week in rent? Like, that just blew my mind that someone could do that at the time. And that was probably my favourite job, but being, I'm ambitious, I always wanted to earn more money. I had my eyes on being the manager and also being the manager in the head office, and I was lucky enough to start in the head office, and it just became a natural progression. I enjoyed the challenge of new tasks like valuations and managing a team, and I did get a buzz out of helping people, but the bit I really loved was just being in lots of different properties and helping people directly, like lots of different people.
Yeah, best job in the world, isn't it?
It's really fun.
I had that. I remember that feeling in '97, a long time ago. Were you even born in '97?
Yeah, 1990.
Oh, yeah. Okay, thank God for that. I feel so old. But yeah, I remember that buzz in '97. I mean, literally the first day I walked into country properties, and that first day you're like, wow, this is like an unbelievable industry.
It was awesome. And it's so weird, you've got keys to someone's flat or their house, and you just like knock, 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 hello, let yourself in. It's so strange.
It is, yeah, no, absolutely. So so you became manager, so you were manager before the business was acquired?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. And what changed? What were the sort of top 3 things that changed for you, either in your own mind or in terms of the culture or in terms of operationally? What were those things that really sort of irked you?
I think as manager I was involved, I did the valuations, so the bringing of properties onto the market, and then I kind of went back and I was like, hey guys, we've got this fantastic new flat, go, and then they were responsible for renting it out. So we had a team of between 3 and 6 people depending on the time period that I was there. And when the new company came in, they were like, right, you no longer do valuations. We're going to hire a valuation specialist, as they called it. So I was in the office all day, every day, with the exception of shadowing on the odd appointment or the odd valuation. And I just didn't feel like an estate agent anymore. And as much as I really enjoyed watching new people come in and start to do deals and seeing that excitement that I had in them, that was wicked. But selfishly, I missed it myself, and I wanted to be doing it. And the rewards were great when we were independent, and then they wanted to bring structure to everything. And I worked in Shoreditch, and there was a lot of young professionals, and we did loads of business over WhatsApp. That was the best way of getting hold of people. And the KPI they were biggest on, the metric that they measure you on, was landline dials, and just no one answered. And I was just sat there watching everyone get frustrated. It was my job to bash them over the head for not making 50 calls a day, and I knew it was pointless. And I really found it hard to bust their balls for something that just wasn't, I knew wasn't necessary.
Yeah. And was that why was that implemented? Did they not take advice from you as to what would work in your location? Because, you know, Simon Bradbury did an interview recently on one of for the conference we did last week, and he said, you know, it's never different where I am. You know, people complain and say, but it's different in my location. It's, you know, people are different, and I tend to think people aren't different. I disagree with when people do say it's different, but there is an argument for London is slightly different. It's its own little world, isn't it, within the UK? But I suppose, so why did they not take advice from you on how to do that and how to operate in that area?
I think after I left, like as time passed, I understood they did kind of make it slightly more region specific. So the company that bought us out was a bunch of like ex-Countrywide bigwigs who'd formed their own company and bought Sterling. But they previously bought out Townend and a bunch of others. And they were more out of London, and they were bringing sort of out of London practices. Like, we had like a script and lots of things we had to do on evaluation, and it involved getting someone to sit down over a cup of tea for an hour, which I would get maybe like once a month out of like 30 valuations. All people really wanted was like a price and a date and a fee, and that was it. And it was very, very transactional. It was a big change. Yeah. And I embraced some of it. I learned a lot from both being an independent agent and a corporate agent, and there are some things that I use from that today, but I just decided it wasn't for me.
Yeah, 100%, and you should learn from it, and I certainly learned a lot from my corporate stint. But there is that, I think there has to be a balance between the two, doesn't there? I mean, and targeting your numbers of landlines dialed seems a bit bizarre to me. You know, why not target people on how many people you've helped move house? That's kind of our job. But anyway, so okay, you did that, and because we don't want to say much more because we might get ourselves in trouble. But so you did that. What was next?
Next, I took a break. I didn't know what I wanted to do, and I'd got in a good position. I was young, free and single, had no commitment, so I just took a few months out, and then I got approached by a property marketing company, which in my eyes sounded absolutely phenomenal. It was photos, floor plans, it was like virtual reality viewings. So I went with them for a while, was there for about 18 months, and then an ex-colleague of mine from Sterling had gone to a startup all about improving the rental experience. And that was really good fun. That was probably the second best job I ever had. But I had this real yearn to be back in property. And I'd spoken with a few different brokerages like EXP, various other places. I actually opted not for EXP at first. I went somewhere else.
Okay. Where'd you go?
Small company. A lady had been with Keller Williams, broke off, set up her own thing. And it was a small team. I liked the idea of getting more support, but it was at a cost of giving away more of my fees. It was a balance I thought I would like. And then more and more structure came in place as the company grew. She was doing phenomenally well. She's a great lady. Again, I learnt a lot, but I wanted to be the captain of my own ship. Okay.
So and let's just dig into that a minute, because everyone, if people listen to this or watch this, they think, oh, it's just an EXP fest, you know, everyone's part of EXP, and they are, and I'm only interviewing EXP agents, right? But I think it's important to identify what was good about, you know, you went there because it was smaller, more boutique, I guess. Is that the reason?
And they had an established brand in the area.
Okay.
Leads were coming in. I could lean on that more. I think the big turning point for me was I went into it knowing that there was no cap. So for anyone who doesn't know EXP, once you give EXP a certain amount of money, after that you get to keep pretty much all of it, which is pretty amazing. And I was cool with that because it was what I signed up for. But I sold a number of flats in one building, and a number of people then called in for valuations off the back of that, but rather than calling me, they called the company.
Okay.
And I'd heard someone say before, like, you know, you don't want to build someone else's business, you want to build your own. And that was when it was kind of a real like light bulb moment, and I was like, bugger, like if I left today, they're still going to call that company, they're not going to call me. And that was a big catalyst for change for me.
Okay. Yeah, because if you're building someone else's brand, you're not building your business, are you? And that's, you know, again, without being an EXP fest, that is probably the core thing for me over anything else, is that EXP isn't bothered about their brand. We're bothered about it to a degree, but we'd much rather put you front and centre. And that's the same in America. It was really insightful. Actually, I went to Lisbon a few weeks ago, and the the American guys came over, and they were banging the same drum as we were. I've been banging this drum, not actually sure. I mean, I've been making my career up for 27 years, let alone EXP. But you know, it was interesting to hear them say, you know, this is all about you. It's never about EXP. It's about you. And if it's your name by the door, and it's your business you're building.
Yeah.
I think that's really key. So then you joined EXP, I guess.
Yeah.
Right.
Then I actually reached out to two really good friends of mine now, James Hughes and Jonathan Woods, and just met them for a coffee. It's always been in my nature to like meet other estate agents and try and be friendly. I know a lot of people like enemy agents and all that kind of thing, but I thought there might be an opportunity to work together. I wasn't looking to join EXP at the time, and I got seduced by it, I guess.
Yeah.
They were great guys. They were killing it. They're still killing it, and I just thought being part of their team but still building my brand was ideal.
Yeah.
And if I can learn from anything that they're doing, I was all for it.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's take you back to the I guess when you first went self-employed with that lady, the smaller boutique one.
Yeah.
Is that when the fear kicked in, and did she give you an underpin? Were you completely bare, no money for 5 or 6 months?
Yeah. So I had. Initially, my previous company were great, and they allowed me to go down to part-time hours, but it was a sales job on 50+% commission, and I found it really hard to commit to putting hours into agency with no immediate reward when I had leads to chase that I knew I could get paid on next month. And so while it offered a lifeline, it definitely slowed my intro. I then spent the next year not doing enough, frankly, but I didn't know that I wasn't doing enough. I knew my bank balance was going down. I knew not enough was coming in, but you don't know what you don't know. And it was hard. And then we got married, and we'd not long before bought a flat, and I was basically running out of money. And then I had 2 deals fall through that I was banking on at like the 11th hour, and I felt like I was pretty buggered, to be straight with you. And my wife and I, my soon-to-be wife and I, sat down, and I was like, look, I think I'm going to have to get a job again. And I started interviewing for places, and then basically what we agreed was I would take a part-time job just to help cover some bills, nothing glamorous, just in like a coffee shop. And I've basically been doing that since we got married last summer, and I've been working my estate agency around. So it's open really early, it's open really late. So I'm there like crack of dawn on a Sunday, and I get most of the shift done by just after lunch.
You're still doing that now?
Yeah.
Wow, okay.
I've just dropped 2 shifts from 3.
Have you? Oh, well done.
Thank you. I'm hoping actually by the end of this month, maybe 6, certainly by the end of summer, I'm going to be completely out of there. But I just don't ever want to put myself in a position again that I was in this, about this time last year, where I was like, oh wow. Like.
So when did you join EXP?
Officially was earlier on, but I really got active. I actually started pushing, got all my compliance and everything done September, October last year.
Okay, so you were in the coffee shop before you joined EXP.
Yeah.
Okay, and then you were running out of money. When was that?
It was before that.
Before that, right?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
It really was like a last roll of the dice.
So, but that ambition to be a self-employed agent,
yeah,
shines through. I mean, like you could have easily just gone and got a job. How did your wife feel, or your soon-to-be wife at the time? How did she feel about it? What were her thoughts on my husband going self-employed? Oh my God, what's going to happen to our house and bills and everything?
I mean, she backs me, but I promised her about 2 years ago that it would be about 6 months of hard, and then it should get easier. And it's been the best part of 2 years. But that's because I wasn't in the right place initially. So things have been much better. The wolf is no longer at the door, he's probably in the garden.
Yeah.
Hopefully he'll be outside the gate in a month or 2. and it feels a lot better. But I'm very lucky, right? So basically, when I said like I think I'm gonna have to get a job again, in my eyes, I was like, I'm gonna have to do this for us. And she turned around, she was a bit annoyed with me, and she was like, we've not just gone through the past year and a half for like this not to work. Like, I know you can do this. And she's like, these people you've met recently, she's like, give it another go with them. And because I've just been saying amazing things about the people that I'd met and how well they were doing, and I just thought if I could do half as well as they've done in the 2-3 years that they've been here, then it would be a goer. And a big thing is like future proofing. Like sales jobs, estate agency or other sales jobs I've done, the more time you put in, the more you can earn, and you want to be there early, you want to be there late, just to make more calls, just to make more sales, to make more money for your family, but then you're not with your family. So I like the idea of being a self-employed estate agent, because perhaps I could, if we're lucky enough to have kids in the future, maybe I can drop them at nursery, or I can have more time with them and then work once they've gone to bed and not have to explain it to someone.
Yeah.
That's a big drive for me.
Yeah, okay. No, and it's good to have that, good to have a why, really important. So your wife backed you, which is great. How did you convince her? Is that in her nature anyway? Is she from a background of entrepreneurs or anything like that? Does she understand how that works for people?
Not so much, but I think I've explained it, and I was talking this through with a good friend of mine, and he's like a performance coach and a business coach and things, and he was like, one of the best things you can do is like really like explain everything to your partner. And he actually recommended like having like an official check-in like once a month, so rather than just like you feel like you're being nagged with your question here or there, it's like, let's just go through everything. So you can see what I've been up to, like here are the numbers coming in, the projected numbers. And I put this forward as a brilliant idea. She's like, it's fine, I trust you. You got this. So that was really lovely.
Yeah.
But I think there is a certain element of, I think just showing what other people have done. And I guess she had faith in that I could do it.
Yeah. What about your friends and family? Mums, dads, uncles, aunties? What?
Yeah.
Did they think you were nuts to go self-employed, give up a good job and a salary?
Yeah, to a certain extent. I mean, we didn't have a huge amount of commitments. We had, we had a mortgage, granted, and I had a fiance and a wife, but we don't have kids. It's I'd always been fairly sensible with money, so I did have some backing when the decision was first made. But I think everyone's excited. Like, I've been lucky. I've just always had this belief that like I can just do stuff and I can make it happen. Most of the time I've been right. So
half the battle.
I was just like, why stop now? Just keep going.
Yeah, absolutely. So what's working for you? So let's say you put the other smaller business brokerage, whatever you want to call it, to one side.
Yeah.
Joined EXP. What was kind of the first thing you did, to generate leads? Because lead gen is the most important thing, right? Because you've got to get those potential sellers into the part, haven't you? And start working them. How did you do that?
Big one was, so James had said to me, like, the best people you can lean on are friends and family. And there was some hesitation from me when I first went self-employed with the other brokerage was that I kind of almost didn't want to tell everyone what I was doing in case it didn't work. Like, you don't want to end up with like, look like you failed. Yeah. And this isn't for everyone. There will be a number of people that will start and it won't work out for. I didn't ever think I would be in that position, but it just seemed a needless risk. And then the more I spoke to people was, you don't realise how much people want to help you, especially if they genuinely are friends and family, and if you've shown them that you've got work ethic and you are good at what you do, then they want to help you. And so when I went with EXP, I just promised myself I would just tell anyone and everyone, this is what I'm doing. And being with EXP was great because it really did come across more. People thought that I'd gone self-employed when I went with EXP rather than where I was before.
Yeah.
They thought
oh wow, cool, you're on your own. And then people started, relatively distant friends would be like, oh, I've just given your number to someone. They live, like someone who doesn't even live in London is like, oh, my mate lives in Balham, it's not far from you, I've given you their details. And that was pretty awesome.
So how did you tap into your friends and family? Was that, did you phone them up? Did you go on Facebook? How did you?
So I had quit social media about 2 years prior.
Right.
And when I was self-employed as an estate agent again, it's free. It's the easiest way to get in front of a whole bunch of people. I went to a talk a while back and this guy said something like, you know, you can have a conversation with one person or you can record it and put it on social media and it's there forever for thousands of people to see. And it just really struck a chord. And so I just put any fears aside and just put conversations, put posts. They're really clever, these things, right? As soon as you open a new account, it just says, you might know this person. And I just pressed follow on probably hundreds of people that I am friends with, but just didn't have them on social media.
In your local area?
A mix. Anyone and everyone that would listen.
Yeah.
And I've actually got a lot of agents that follow my social media accounts. And where they're not in my area, I get leads from them. And they're not EXP people.
Right.
It's pretty awesome.
Yeah. And you know, one of the very first things I did was I went through my phone book, but I would walk past people in the street. So I used to live on Bedford Street, which you all know, Bedford Street around the end of the cricket club. And I walked down there and I saw a guy called Ross, and I never used to speak to him. I used to just nod, all right, you know. We'd walk past each other. Yeah. And literally I started my business and I stopped him in the street. First time ever I stopped him in the street, but I felt like I just had to tell everyone. Yeah. Did you find yourself doing that as well in the streets of Shoreditch or wherever you were?
Yeah, so I live in Wandsworth and we live in a new build block. And I've always done it anyway. I've been friendly with people in my building, but I've put letters through like I basically printed off these signs that are like around my block. I've got posters and business cards in the coffee shop, in the Sainsbury's, through everyone's letterboxes like every couple of months. And people just now, whereas it's always been a nod, people are now like, oh, I saw you sold one in our building. And it's a conversation. And a lot of people use the buying scheme called Help to Buy in our building. And so I've offered my help to help them understand what their options are coming out of it. So I'm trying to be helpful. I think that's a big thing I'm doing actually. A lot of what I put on social media is trying to be helpful to people. I don't even actually post that many properties on it. I've got so many exchanged, not so many, but I've got a bunch of exchanged and sold posts and things that I've never actually gone out. A lot of the stuff I do is like about being an estate agent or things you can do to help yourself. Okay. It's all about just trying to help people. I enjoy helping people.
So you're coming at it from an angle of give, and the universe will pay back, won't it? I mean, that's
hopefully.
That's how it works. Well, it will do.
Yeah.
That's how life works. The more you give, the more you get back.
Yeah.
It's weird. I never realised that until about 5 or 6 years ago, actually. So good. So tell us a little bit about where you're at now with your business. How many, what's your pipeline? You might not want to say, but how much are you earning compared to when you were at Sterling?
Yeah.
How many hours are you working? What's your pipeline? How many are you listing per month and selling and that kind of stuff?
I earn really well at Sterling, like a good chunk of money. It was difficult to leave, but I wasn't happy. I decided money wasn't everything. Then being here, I'm very, very confident that probably next year I'll have the best year I've ever had. This year, I mean, my pipeline's, I actually don't know. I think it's in 40, 50k, something like that.
Okay.
I've had 3 completions recently. It's where I am, it's relatively low. My whole business ethos is low volume, relatively expensive properties and good solid fees. I want to give few people really good service. The idea that I can get referred and to suit the lifestyle that I'm aiming for, in that I can be more flexible and have more time with people. I'm not looking to work. I mean, I am right now working every hour under the sun because sometimes I'm at the shop for 8 hours and I'll do a full day of agency. So I have no social life right now, but I know there's an end in sight. But it's all for a long-term good.
Yeah, but a 50 grand pipeline, that's 150 grand gross commission, isn't it? If you turn that 3 times a year, 3.5 times, it's 175,000, which I'd imagine is probably more than you were at Sterling, I guess.
Yeah, I'm actually hoping that I can cap
like autumn-ish, and then I'll have like 6 months maybe of non-cap.
All the difference. Makes all the difference.
Which, for anyone that doesn't know, basically means you earn like a third more for each sale.
Yeah.
So
That's big.
That'd be exciting.
That will be very exciting. Well, I hope you do, and we'll do everything we can to help you to do that, because that's my job is to help people cap, because cap seems to be the target for everyone. But once you cap, because you get everything by the 250, it makes such a difference to your income, and the quicker you cap in your year, the quicker you make more money for the remainder of your year. So we'll continue to help you with that. And just, I mean, I guess I've got 2 more questions. What's the plan? You talked about low volume, high fees, high quality service. Do you see that changing over the next 5 years? Where do you see yourself in 5 years with EXP? Or do you not see yourself with EXP? Or how do you see that playing out?
I think 2 pronged. One is, I get asked this question a lot. Like, people are like, where I'm pushing a high service model, they're like, that can only go so far before you take on too much business and then you lose that. So the model isn't to take on more properties, it's to deal with higher value properties. So that's how I plan to expand on that front. And then also I'd like to introduce more people to EXP, because where I live, we've got this gang of, it's growing every day, 30, 40 odd people. And if I need help with anything, someone's there to help. We meet up for socials. If someone's like, if a property's slightly too far for someone else can help out. And I'd love to bring in more people, and it sounds cheesy, but like give them the opportunity that I've got. I really think I'm super lucky, and if I can help other people to see the opportunities that are there and help them grow their business, and I can benefit along the way, that'd be amazing.
Yeah.
So 2 pronged.
It's part of the model. So yeah, good stuff. And then I guess the last question, I suppose, EXP tried to put events on. I know you have your own events with your gang, as you just called them. How have you found those? You've come to pretty much everything. I think you've come to the masterminds in London that we've done. You've come to the conference you were at Christmas Do, if I remember rightly.
Yeah.
How have you found them and that sort of? You sound like a collaborative kind of guy, which a lot of agents struggle with when they join. But how have you found those events, and how important are they to your personal growth, your business growth as well?
Super important. Yeah, I think a lot of people have the concern of you're on your own, and I think that there are some people that are on their own. But I think if you make some contacts within EXP, you have a network, and you all have the same shared experiences, and it's really good fun, especially when everyone's winning. It's really good. The mastermind was amazing. Like, it's basically a room full of people. Anyone who had problems would lay them out, and then someone around that table was probably pretty good at them and would explain, I'm great at video, this is what I do. I'm great at knocking on people's doors, here's what I do. Met some nice people there. I've had leads from people that I met at that mastermind.
Cool.
I've given leads to people that I met at that mastermind. The recent event was awesome. I was only able to make 1 day because I was on holiday the next day, but that was incredible. And Christmas party is always good fun. So
always good fun. 5th of December this year. So
okay.
Get your tickets early.
Yeah, I have to tell my stepdad early. I'm going to miss his birthday.
Oh no! Oh my God.
Rearrange it.
Yeah. We'll rearrange the whole thing. So good. All right. Well, look, it's been a pleasure having you, Jack. And I often say, and you may have heard me say this in some of the Friday morning meetings, you can build a great estate agency business with great estate agents, and you are a great estate agent. So thank you very much for coming.
Thank you. Thanks for everything you're doing. I love it.
No worries. Love it as well.
Thank you.